so you've probably seen hundreds of videos on this topic already, but I promise if you stay until the end, this is the only video you're gonna need to reference back to. So just stay tuned, sit tight. Let's go over what makes an aesthetic physique, and let's go over how you can actually build an aesthetic physique. Okay, so what actually builds an aesthetic physique? Usually the ideal aesthetic physique is, imagine a superhero with a nice V taper, broad shoulders, big chest, lats kind of poking out. Basically the ideal superhero physique. One of the physiques you see online, they're like, what the fuck, I can never get that. But yes, you can, bro. The ideal muscles you want to focus on to get that V taper look is the shoulders, especially the side delt, the back, especially the lats, and the chest. You also want to take into account things such as calories and a diet, or just kind of track your macros, but we'll get into that at the end. You don't really want to focus on that right now. Right now, we're going to focus on what actually builds your physique. Starting off with shoulders. There are 3 types of shoulder heads. You have the front delt, side delt, and the rear delt. You're going to want to target all 3 of those delts to actually build a full shoulder frame to really get an aesthetic and nice looking 3D delts. Mainly when people are chasing a V-taper look, you'll want to go for the side delt. Some good side delt exercises are lateral raises. I love to do my lateral raises either on the cable or seated. And when you're doing these lateral raises, bro, you really want to raise your elbow. People, when they're doing shoulder lateral raises, they usually kind of lead with their hands, but you want to lead with your elbow, bro. That way you're going to feel it more in your delt rather than your trap. So raise your elbow to really get the shoulder to burn. That really kind of goes for the rear delt as well. When you're doing rear delts, I really like to emphasize rear delt flies. I love to do them on the pec deck machine. It just hits the most for me there. You could technically do it with dumbbells too as well, don't get me wrong, but my favorite is doing it on the pec deck machine. When you're doing rear delt flies, one thing you always want to do is to keep your chest up, and then when you're going back, again, you want to really get those elbows back. Move your elbows back rather than focusing on bringing those hands back. When you bring that elbow back, you're going to really focus on the rear delt itself. For front delt, you'll do shoulder press. When I'm doing shoulder presses, guys, I always want to keep my back more flat on the bench. That way you're actually going to hit your shoulders and target it more rather than just kind of ego lifting with your back all the way arched. I like to tuck my elbows in about 45 degrees, not too much flare going on. And when you're going down, focus on the eccentric and then explode at the push, whatever you want to call it. So lateral raises, rear delt flies, and shoulder press are the 3 shoulder workouts you're going to want to do to actually build your shoulders up so you can have a wider frame. Personally, I think for an aesthetic physique, the shoulders in the back are the most important pieces. Now for the back, there's a lot of workouts you can do. I really like to focus on lat workouts and a lot of chest supported rows, such as pull-ups, pull downs, chest supported rows, then some type of low row. Obviously the rows are going to focus on your lats as well as thickness, but really getting those pull-ups and those pull downs in check is really what's gonna make your physique explode. This picture of me is before I really started hitting back, and then this picture of me is after. Obviously, I have a genetically small waist, but you can see the difference on how my waist looks when I actually trained my back versus when I didn't. When doing any type of pull down movement, what you're really gonna wanna do is keep your shoulders outside of the movement, and you're gonna wanna emphasize bringing your elbow down to your pocket. Imagine when you're doing a pull-up, you push your chest out, shrug your shoulders back, bring those elbows in. Ideally, anything past 45 degrees goes. Especially in the beginning, you'll probably just go for a more flared out look, but you want to imagine tucking those elbows in, and then you're going to pull down. And instead of me pulling down and focusing on the bar touching my chest, I just pull down and focus on my elbows reaching my pockets. You're going to feel it so much more in your back if you do it that way, rather than focusing on just pulling the movement down to your chest, because you might start to accidentally isolate your biceps. Another way to kind of also focus on this movement is by keeping your thumbs wrapped over the bar. That just takes more forearm out of your workout, so you're really just focusing on all back at that point rather than letting your forearms burn out. Moving on to rows. I personally love a T-bar row. but especially when you're beginning, you're probably gonna just want to find any type of chest supported row machine. That way you can really focus on failure. If you need to do your rows not chest supported, that's also an option, but I really emphasize doing some sort of chest supported row. For any type of row, whether it's a low row or a high row, keep your chest out and you're gonna wanna bring those elbows all the way back. Definitely prioritize back muscles and shoulders when building an aesthetic physique, but that doesn't mean leave out chest, guys. Now when people do chest, especially me, I love going heavy. I love doing bench press. You guys see how, if you've been around here, you've seen me bench press with some crazy weight before. I love doing the bench presses, but when you're genuinely trying to build your physique rather than strength, I recommend doing a dumbbell press or a machine press rather than a bench press. But when doing any type of press movement, you want to keep your elbows tucked. You want to bring that weight down slowly. You don't necessarily need the weight to touch your chest, but you want to get it damn near there and then explode at the top. The reason why I say you don't necessarily need the weight to touch your chest is because you could face shoulder injuries if you do it that way, depending on how you're holding the weight. So that's why I always tell people to bring their elbows in when doing these type of workouts so you don't feel too much strain on your shoulders. Next, I would say incline Smith machine press. And it's the exact same thing. Keep your elbows a little bit tucked, bring that weight down, and explode up. You really want to focus on control for incline. Incline is more important to also keep your elbows tucked as well. That way you're going to hit more of the top shelf of your chest. If your arms are more flared out, you're probably going to hit more of the middle chest. So you want to keep those arms tucked, especially when doing the incline press, because it is so important. And then to finish off chest, I say you do a good set of chest flies. Now, personally, I like the pec deck machine. It gets the job done, straight into it. Bring the elbows back and then bring them together. Whenever you're doing a pec deck machine or any type of fly movement, try not to focus on what your hands are doing, but instead focus on what your elbows are doing. You kind of want to imagine your elbows coming in for a big hug and touching each other, but they're not necessarily going to touch. You just want to bring those elbows close together. And that's what's really going to focus on building just the overall shape of your chest. You cannot skip pec flies no matter what, guys. If anything, I would say incline press and pec flies are more important than an actual flat dumbbell press. Now for all of my workouts, I like to go for around 6 to 10 reps. If you're leaning more towards a strength focused workout day, I would say 6 to 8 reps. But if you really want to get your control better, I'd say about 8 to 10 reps is the sweet spot, especially for control and just, fatiguing the muscle. For heavier compound lifts, 6 to 8 is my go-to. But for things such as lateral raises, rear delt flies, pec deck machine, those type of workouts, I'll honestly just go for 8 to 10 reps and really try to get really close to failure so I can really feel the burn. But genuinely, I always tell people, the closer to failure, the better. You don't want to end a fucking set having like 10 reps in the tank. You actually want to get pretty close to failure for there to be some sort of growth. Now for abs. Abs are made in the kitchen, but you can also train them, you guys. For ab workouts, I like to do hanging leg raises. I like to do cable crunches, and that's about it. And then I'll just make sure I watch what I eat throughout the week. The diet, don't starve yourself, don't kill yourself, but just make sure you're actually eating what's right. And you'll feel full, and you'll still be losing weight, you guys. I always tell people 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. For example, I'm about 180 pounds floating in between, so I usually go for 180 grams of protein a day because that's how much I weigh. I will say though, with the protein, if you're trying to lose weight, I would go closer to the 1.2 grams per pound of body weight portion. The more protein you eat while losing weight, you're gonna keep more muscle. So that's why I say that. I would definitely go for more protein when losing weight compared to when I'm gaining weight. Foods that I eat: chicken, beef, tuna, eggs. Those are my main whole food protein sources. I'll throw in a protein shake, But I won't just drink a protein shake by itself and get protein from that. You want to get most of your protein from the whole foods rather than things such as the protein shakes or the protein yogurts and oatmeals. Try to focus on whole foods, you guys. Go on caloriecalculator.net to find out how much calories you need to lose, gain, or maintain weight and work from there. And then kind of implement your protein from there as well. You want to find out how many calories you need a day before finding out how to fill it up with proteins, carbs, fats, and all those type of nutrients. But I can really only speak on protein and calories, you guys. You guys just get those two locked in and I promise you the physique will come through. If you guys want a more detailed workout program, I do have my meal plan and my actual workout program in the bio down below. So check that out if you want to pay a little $20 fee. But yeah, other than that, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. See y'all next time.